Today's weather update is brought to you by you. Big thanks for everybody on Patreon who continues to support this channel. If you want to help out, the link is down below. Now let's get into today's update.
I don't even know if I want to share that. Remember I started crying during one?
The winds in the center of the circulation of this storm are the equivalent of what you would find in an EF3 to EF4 tornado. Already the strongest storm on the face of the earth for 2013. Millions of people affected by this eye wall you can see on the radar imagery.
It was 10 years ago that the Philippines was hit by Super Typhoon Haiyan, of course also known as Yolanda in the Philippines. Now, I can't really speak on the experience, of course, of people that were there, the storm chasers that were on the ground like James Reynolds, but of course of all the residents there, especially in Tacloban, that were just absolutely devastated by that storm. But I can talk about my experience and how it is one of the main reasons why I still today continue to make these Western Pacific weather updates. You see, at the time of Yolanda, I was working in Japan. I was doing the Westpac weather updates on the side and basically utilizing that knowledge from my job, kind of sharing some extra information on YouTube as well. And leading up to the storm, you know, we started to see it develop. The long-range guidance was coming through, and it really started to show that this storm was going to be a monster. Nearly a week ahead of time. In fact, some of my most viral videos were recorded about 5-6 days before that storm made landfall, and it was just talking about, you know, where this was going to head, how it was going to develop, and we were just trying our hardest to get the word out. Also, remember back then, Pagasa was a different beast. I think today Pagasa is a really fantastic agency. They've come a long way, but back then they completely ignored the storm until about 48 hours ahead of time when it entered the Philippine area of responsibility. You still hear that, the PAR. Back then it was really much more concrete. So it was only about a 48-hour heads up. So I think a lot of people were looking to those outside agencies, JTWC, you know, all those different YouTubers, myself included, that were talking on this storm. But it really wasn't until hours before landfall when it made that final burst of rapid intensification, where we were looking at satellite imagery. I was doing a live cast with some of the members from Westpac Weather, and we were just jaw dropped. I recorded this video right here.
You are looking at the latest satellite imagery of a very violent and severe typhoon. I do not say those words lightly. This truly is one of the most damaging storm systems, or very likely to be one of the most damaging storm systems.
You know, and that satellite imagery really told a lot, but also the topography of where Leyte and Samara was. The right front of that storm was coming on shore. We were talking about that threat of storm surge for several days if this did happen, and it was just a perfect combination of one of the strongest storms on Earth in recorded history, at least in the satellite era, combined with the topography, combined with a lack of awareness for not only the storm, but the threat of storm surge. You got to remember, a lot of people in this area didn't quite understand what a storm surge was. Tsunami, maybe, but a storm surge, yeah, a little bit of waves, and we've all been through it before. There's just a combination of all these factors, a perfect storm, if you will, coming together. And it's one of those. It was a very big learning experience for me in the sense of how to communicate these threats and to get real with people instead of putting on that TV personality persona, discussing, you know, this is what we're seeing right now. I'm nervous, and if you see me nervous, you guys should probably take this pretty seriously. And I still use some of those lessons learned to this day as that storm came on shore. And, you know, after it came on shore, and I'll share some stories with you, you know, all communication went out into that area. And I'll never forget, you know, I have some good friends out there. Videographer James Reynolds is just communication was lost with him for over 48 hours. And I was having lunch with my wife, who, after the storm came on shore, and, you know, we just, I don't know if I want to share that. Remember I started crying during one? Yeah. You know what, I'll share it. Yeah. So, yeah, after the storm came on shore, I was having lunch with my wife, and we were at a ramen place in Tokyo, and I just started crying a little bit because it's not only the loss of life, but I had friends who were hit by this storm. And James Reynolds' wife, God bless her, reached out to me shortly after. She said she heard from James, who was in Cebu, and that was a big relief. But he got lucky. The storm chasers that were out there really got lucky. I know, and still even to this day, so many of you share your stories with me, and I feel it, guys. And this is why I wasn't there for the storm, but I've heard these stories so many times. I've heard from you guys about how my videos helped you ahead of it, and I'll realize the intensity of it. And I can't thank you enough for listening. Can't thank you enough for sharing your stories with me. And I just wanted to share that's one of the reasons why I still do these weather updates even to today. On the other side of the world, traveling all over the world, I got so many other things going on, but I still try my best to keep you guys posted. And it's one of the many reasons. So anyways, 10 years ago today, my heart goes out to everybody who lost someone during that storm, lost property, of course, friends, family, though, and I hope that you're recovering well. I'm meteorologist Robert Spett, of course, and as always, friends, stay safe out there.